So technology clearly is one third of the equation, but it's an important part, right? And it's changing so fast that to stay on top of it is critical. And so this kind of information will help you do that. So with that, we're going to cover the bottom two today, okay? Process and technology, and then ultimately what you do with it is what you do with it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Rod Santamassimo, CEO of the Massimo Group, and he's going to take you through some specific processes that are going to help you do this. So Rod, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hey, Steve. Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
That's great.
Welcome everyone who has joined this session. We're very excited about it. I know, Steve, you're going to, I believe, pass along some responsibility to me. Let me show my screen to make sure you all can see this.
That's right. So.
Okay. So just,
great.
Steve, you can confirm me. Are you seeing the slides?
I can see it. Yep, we're there.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Well, first and foremost, thanks everyone for spending your time and extremely valuable time with Steve and I this afternoon. And I commit to you that what you would take from today will be at least 1, 2, 3 nuggets of information that you can apply immediately and help you with your prospecting pursuits. That's absolutely true. And one thing I share with webinars, they're great training platforms to share with you some information, some strategies and tactics. We're a coaching organization, so we have to make sure you implement those strategies and tactics and you make your business grow. So let's talk about the process. The process of prospecting. What is it all about? How do we prospect? Why do we prospect? What's the correct approach? And in the confines of today's session, talking about process and technology, we can't dive completely into it, but at least we could jump in the pool, get wet, get some feel for it, understand what prospecting is all about. So if you allow me, the broker continuum. I always preach this, right? You got to do 3 things. You have to do 3 things consistently or your pipeline will dry up. So number 1 is find business. You got to go out and find some business, some opportunities, right? And then you got to go out and win those opportunities. And ultimately, you got to fulfill them and cash your commission checks. That's what it's all about. It's amazing to me when we have people call the Massimo Group and they tell us they need a coach, and we ask them, tell us why. And some folks actually say, hey, I had a terrific first quarter in 2013. Well, that's great. Why do you need a coach? Because I have nothing. I got nothing, they tell us, because I was never spending any time in that brokerage continuum of actually finding business. Now, they don't say it that way, but that's really what they're telling me. And so how do we find business? It's really about, right, who we're going to call, who we're going to contact, who those people are. And once we got them, what are we going to say? So finding business is the focus of today's session, and prospecting for new opportunities is absolutely vital. So how do we do this? Well, number 1, you got to identify your target market, right? Everyone's got a target market. In tertiary firms, and maybe a lot broader, in primary firms in New York and LA, certainly they have a focused approach to their territories, their regions, or their industry types. But you have to define specifically, what am I going to do? Where am I, and who am I going after? And after figuring that out, we have to create some type of value proposition to attract them to working with you, right? So first step, who's our target market? You got to define it. Do not take that for granted. So many brokers do. I'll just call whoever will pay me money for my services. No. In today's environment, I don't care how much the economy seems to be improving, people are still looking for experts. They're looking for the brain surgeons. They're looking for the people that know what they're talking about, and they can articulate that through their value proposition. And then guess what? We got to do something. We got to contact them somehow. So whether either a letter or a call or a face-to-face meeting, if that's your first initial contact, that's your opportunity to really articulate and share why they would want to work with you, right? That's what prospecting is all about. Prospecting is completely different than presence, which is more advertising, marketing. Prospecting is sales. Prospecting is securing that meeting and winning that opportunity. That's what prospecting is all about. And that's the process. That's the prospecting process. So once you understand that, then you can say, okay, I'm going to talk about in this very first appointment. What am I going to talk about on the phone? What do I need to be prepared for in order to really understand and articulate, that I understand where this prospect is in the decision tree and what I need to do specifically to share with them, to show them and exhibit, hey, I can absolutely handle your issues, and more importantly, I'm the only one who understands what these issues are and what they mean to you and the stakeholders and the shareholders and the like, right? That's what prospecting is all about. So one thing we really relate to is when you're prospecting, really focus on your prior success. Leverage the success you've had in the building, on the street, in the neighborhood, in the region, in the state. It doesn't matter. If you have very limited success because you're newer to the business, well, then leverage the success of your team, your senior, your organization. Always leverage that success and share that success. By the way, in prospecting, that word I just used, share, is probably one of the most powerful words you can absolutely leverage when communicating why you're calling somebody. Just want to share some information. I want to share a recent transaction. I want to share this. You do never, and I mean never, do you want to educate someone on the marketplace. That's a really think about it. What you're saying, you don't know what you're talking about? I do? No, absolutely not. You want to share information. Number two, I really highlight here is the business issues. So many times I ask brokers, hey, give me your pitch. Let's hear it. No matter where I'm across the country, I say, let's hear the pitch. What do you do? And I hear all about them, right, and what they do and why they're giving their pitch. And I sit and say, hold it. Why are we focusing so much on someone's real estate needs? Wait a minute. Did I actually just say that? Why are we focusing so much on someone's real estate needs? That's a limitation. You're talking to business owners, to investors. And real estate is just a component of their entire decision-making elements, so that they have all this criteria and issues. Real estate's just one of them. I love when I ask tenant reps, for example, when is the best time to call a tenant? And I hear, well, 6 months before the lease expires, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. They have it. They peg it to the lease expiration. But think about that. Business issues don't care when your lease expires. It does not. Real estate obligation does not drive business decisions. Let me repeat that. It's very important you really hone in on that. Real estate obligations do not force business decisions. Business decisions impact real estate obligations. They just do. The right time to grow or contract or whatever has nothing to do with the lease expiration. So we're really, when you focus on prospecting, what I'm asking you to do is truly focus on the business issues and leverage your prior success. And really we can't get into what to say and how to say it, because that's really, that's a sort of broad and very deep topic. But if you go with just those tactics I just shared, you'll absolutely increase your capture rate and you increase the opportunity to win more meetings. But here's the key. Just don't wing it. Absolutely don't wing it. I give these presentations so often, giving one tomorrow in an office. I'm going across the country on Friday in another office. But here's the point. I practice, 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 practice. As our clients practice, 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 practice. We just don't wing it. You can't just wing it and get on the phone and say, hey, let's see how this goes. And you can trial and error some approaches. Absolutely, you should. But just don't wing it. You can't wing it to win it. I always say that. You cannot wing it to win it. So what else can we tell you about prospecting? Well, remember this. You got to focus on your prospect. It's not about you. In fact, it's never about you. You have little to do with it. So the purpose of your call is not to tell them how great you are and recent closing you had, and you know what, we're the biggest, baddest firm in the region, you really need to work with us. That's not it. And why is that? Because we all know WIFM, right? WIFM, everyone's favorite radio station, no matter who they are, where they're from, it doesn't matter. Everyone's favorite radio station is WIFM, and that, of course, stands for What's in It for Me? What's in it for me? That's all I really care about. Mr. Broker, you can call me and tell me about your closings and some market issues and elements and trends. What does it mean to me? What does it mean to me? So the complete focus of all your prospecting efforts has to be on the prospect, not on you. Approach towards that you can then transfer and leverage to win those meetings. Now, you have a call. You have a call, let's say you've identified your candidates, your target market. You have a call. There's 5 directions this call is going to take. And you got to be prepared for each direction. You got to. So let's say the best one. What's the best one? Of course, we know the best one. Yes. Yes, Mr. Broker. I absolutely will meet with you. Yes, Miss Broker Associate or whatever. Yes, let's absolutely get together. That's a yes. A lot of you say, fantastic, next Tuesday, 4 o'clock, goodbye, click. And you wait till next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and you show up at the office, and they say, what? Was there a meeting? What's going on? Are you prepared? That's a mistake. So if they say yes, number one, set the meeting. Great, see you Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Get off the phone. Stop selling. Oh, let me tell you about this. We should talk about that. Shut up. I hate to say it, but yes, shut up. Get off the phone. Set the meeting. Move forward. Then immediately confirm via Outlook or email. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to our conversation. We'll discuss the following. I'll see you on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Send the email. Now, if in fact that meeting is 4, 5, 6 days out, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, hopefully not, you have to send something in the interim. You have to show them, again, an exhibit why you're meeting, validate your personal credentials in relation to this meeting and why they're meeting with you, and maybe some additional information that will help them support, oh yeah, I got this meeting, I can't wait for this meeting, really looking forward to this meeting, right? Imagine that, someone really looking forward to meeting with you because you're sending additional information about them instead of just showing up and saying, hey, do you remember me from 2 weeks ago? Don't do that, okay? Unfortunately, the second direction a call can make is number 2 is no. No, thank you. I don't want your services. No, thank you. Absolutely not. No, 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 not interested. Well, a couple things can happen there, right? They already have a broker, correct? They have a broker already, and I appreciate it very much. I'm represented by John Doe at ABC Realty. I have no need for your services. Okay, then you have a decision to make, right? Okay, I understand that John's a great guy. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, but let me ask you, I know things changed, so would it be okay if I continue to send you information, right? Just in case things change, or I can be the number 1 backup should you need anything at all. They're not going to say no. They're not. Put yourself in that position. Just don't say no and walk away. If they're not selling, they're not leasing, ask them why. If you really want to push, ask them why. What is it about your building? What is it about your asset? What is it about your investment? Whatever, that currently you're not in a position to sell. Learn more about their business while you have them on the phone. Many brokers just give up and say, oh, they're not interested, goodbye. Or let them hang up quickly. No. Or do you continue to push? You can really continue to push. Some brokers are assertive, aggressive, and assertive, 2 different things, right? But the assertive ones might push a little bit. Other ones say thank you very much, and they'll call, maybe schedule a call again for 3, 6 months, whatever it might be. If they say send information, and now you're prospecting, right? Send information. Well, you got a decision to make here, right? I'm going to send information. Okay, great. I'll send it right away. And we scurry to the marketing department. We grab a flyer. We put it in the mail. We send it out. Now, how do you know it's the information they want? Why do you assume send information means your information that you want to send? It doesn't. It means the information they want to receive to allow them to make a better decision to determine if, in fact, they want to move forward and move forward with you. So ask them to absolutely define what do they need for you to send to put them in a better position to make that decision. You've got to ask that question. Just don't send information. Now, some people send information, just say, great, I'll send it. I'll call you in 2 weeks. I'll call you in a week. Oh, we don't do that to Massimo Group, and our clients do not do that to Massimo Group. We never say, sure, we'll play phone tag and email tag for 3 years, and hopefully we'll connect again sometime soon. Take care. Because that's basically what you just said, right? Absolutely, sir. I love some information, but tell you what I like to do right now is let's commit to a time where you will review the information, and we will determine if there's a next step that's warranted, right? Now, you don't have to be that you have to say those exact words, obviously. I get a little Fraser Crane once in a while, people tell me. But that's what you want to communicate, right? You want commitment. You want commitment that a decision's going to be made at a certain time, yes or no. Because there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse in real estate, and brokers specifically, than a slow no, right? You hang it on, you hang it on, you hang on. No, we're not. Oh, what a waste of colossal time. So make it a commitment. Get them to say, hey, yes, I'll send information. I'll meet with you. Now, if you have the wrong person, a couple things happen. Either you didn't use ProspectNow, or you just had the wrong person, right? And if you have the wrong person, maybe you didn't qualify the person, right? And if you didn't, you got to ask for the next contact. Okay, can you tell me who the correct contact is in relation to this need we have? If they say no interest, say, I don't have an interest. Thank you very much. Goodbye, right? Get off my phone. Well, they say all that. Well, now you got some things to think about. Was your value proposition, was it weak? Was it wrong? Was it off target? Really? Did you articulate a very good value proposition, but just articulate it poorly, right? You gotta look at every call and evaluate after the call. What went wrong? What went right? Where am I? What should I have said instead? If they say I'm not interested, now you gotta, even if you really want to be assertive, you can say, okay, why? Why are you not interested this time? I ask. Or do you know anyone else who may be interested? Look, Mr. Tenant, we just negotiated a lease with one of your fellow tenants on the third floor. We saved 20% on their lease costs and received a complete turnkey improvement of their space to the tune of $300,000. I understand you're not interested, but you tell me, anyone else in your building that you know of that may be interested in reducing their costs by 20%? Well, now you just, again, reinforce your value proposition, and you say, well, I didn't say that. Or even a stronger question, a stronger response, and this is not for everybody, absolutely not. If they say, look, right now I'm not even interested. Well, can you tell me when this will be a priority to you? Can you tell me when saving 20% on your lease will be a priority to you? Can you tell me when selling your asset at its maximum value will be a priority to you? Can you tell me when investing, getting a 15% IRR will be a priority to you? Well, I didn't say that either. It is a priority to me. I didn't say it right now. So now you got them talking. Once you get them talking, there's a whole other laundry list of questions we can ask, but we just don't have time today to get into that. So here's the point, right? First thing I said you got to do is identify your contacts. That's the first thing you have to do is identify your contacts. And so once you get that target audience, that's the audience you're going to go after. That's the one we want to all call on, right? Oh, maybe, maybe not. Then you got these ideal contacts, right? So it's a better group of people, all your target market, that are ideal contacts. And ultimately, the ideal contacts are the ones that are qualified. And there's many ranges of qualification, right? There's whether they're the right person, they have the budget, the right time, they know you, they like you, they trust you, as far as qualified contacts. But here's the key, and here's the thing I think most brokers miss out on, and this is it. Who you call is just as important as what you say. And think about that. You can have the best, most articulate, really attractive, persuasive value proposition and articulate it. They can say, that's nice, but I don't need you, right? Absolutely true. It's not going to happen. So if someone's to come to my house and sell me cookware, they're talking to the wrong person. It isn't going to happen. I'm sorry. You know? Now, if in fact they meet my wife and they sell cookware, but they do it very poorly, then she ain't going to buy either, right? But you got to remember, the key is who you're going to call. And that's where a lot of people miss out. They focus so much on the value proposition and what they're going to say. They don't focus on who we're going to call. And because of that, when Steve called me up and said, hey, you know, we really should do this mutual webinar, I said, you know what, you're right. Because what you do at ProspectNow is you really assist in making the broker's time much more efficient and much more defined by providing the information of who they should call. So that really is the next step. Who are they going to call? So that's where we go. That's a little bit about the process, but now we look about the technology. Let's define who we're going to call, and let's apply some of those principles, strategies, and tactics that we share with you today, and let's go out and win more meetings. So Steve, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back on, give you the, make you the presenter, and you are off and running.
All right. Thanks, Rod. That was really, that's valuable information, no question. Takes me back to my brokerage days there. So, so absolutely, the clearly what you say on the call and how you handle all the scenarios that Rod just outlined, that's infinitely important. There's no question. And also, additionally, calling the right people, right? The cookware is that's a great analogy. I mean, we got to get to the guy that cares. you know, historically, the way that brokers have canvassed for this type of information has been what I would consider a difficult one. It's a little bit of background on myself. So I used to broker retail shopping centers in Northern California, and I did investment sales. And so my mission, my goal was to reach out to these building owners, and since I was focused on investment sales, you know, I was calling them to see if they wanted to sell or buy something else, and you know, I wanted to, you know, obviously help them make money and make money for myself along the way. But the key thing for me was I discovered that my customer was not the property. It was not an LLC with a P.O. box. It was a person. And to get to that person was job number one. And then to have the information to, I love that, Rod, share, to share information, that's great. So to share information about what I knew was goal number two when I got on the call, right? But in order to get to that, in order just to get up to bat, right, I needed to be able to do direct outreach to the building owners. And for tenant reps, and in their case, their customer is the CFO, the director of real estate, the CEO for a smaller company, whoever's in charge of making those decisions. And so necessity is the mother of invention, right? I spent probably a year actually putting together a database, and this is actually what you see here on your screen is it was the process that I guess I went through to a certain extent. Data is coming in from everywhere, right? There's all kinds of data, and what I really wanted was I wanted the phone number, I wanted the email, and then I also wanted the property information so that when I made the call I had something, you know, something intelligent to say. So ProspectNow was built to solve this problem. So one place to go to get this information so that we can do that direct outreach. You know, if I drill down one level deeper, specifically the process that I think many on the call are probably familiar with, I found two things with this. The first is that the process is so difficult that in a lot of cases it's not done at all. And as a result of that, the prospecting is maybe, you know, 50% of what it should be, just because there's too much work involved. And then if it is being done, okay, this process of canvassing and collecting all this information, it's taking a lot of time, right? So those are the two problems. For the broker that is doing the work now, then we're talking about a time savings. For the broker that the work is so substantial that it's not being done at all, we're talking about a geometric difference in their business. And so, you know, what really I think is so great about the information that Rod presented prior, connected with this this information, is now the two, it makes sense, right? The two kind of come together. What you see on your screen here was the process I went through. So I would search a property address, I'd get an LLC, then I'd go get an LLC, I'd get a person, and then I wanted to get their phone number, right? So I'd go and search the, you know, 5 different websites, get a phone number, put it in a, you know, call it, verify it, put it in a spreadsheet. It wouldn't be so bad if I only had to do it once, but I had to do it 1,200 times. And the theory there is that, you know, you take a normal market, right? And in a normal market, average turnover is around 10%. So 1,200 buildings in your database, and you figure 10% annual turnover, that means 120 properties are trading over the course of that year. Now, in 2008 and 2009, guess what? That turnover was like 3%. So in that case, you'd have to have a lot more than 1,200 buildings in your database. But in a normal market, you know, you should be able to be around 10%. So there you go. So 120 are trading. Now, my goal was to capture 10% of that, right? So do a deal a month, in other words, one deal a month. And in order to do that, I needed to have solid data so that I could go out and do that. So effectively, for those of you that are on the call, I mean, I know we've got a lot of customers on the call, Prospect Now, but for those of you that have not used it, it's you know, a database with phone numbers and property information and decision makers to really help you do that outreach. So one search and it's done. And we're collecting information from a bunch of different sources. In fact, I started the company in 2008, and I'm actually glad I didn't know how difficult it was to collect this information, because you know, that it was so much effort. Clearly, there's a lot of effort involved in doing that and doing it properly. That might have been a barrier to me taking the next step there. So in that case, my naivete worked out well for me. But we started with a local product in Northern California. And worked it out from there. And so you can see there's a lot of different data sets that are available to you then on Prospect Now. So just a little bit of background on the company. We were started in 2008. We've got users at most firms. The company is actually, in 2008, the founder of LoopNet, Dennis DeAndre, invested in the company. In fact, that relationship, incidentally, came from a cold call that I made when I was a commercial real estate broker. So going out and doing the prospecting, you never know what's going to happen, right? It can do a lot of different things for you. But one thing we know for sure is that the discipline of following what we know is the right thing to do when it comes to growing your business. In my business in commercial real estate, I always found that the mind will focus on, when you've got deals in escrow, oh, I got to work on my escrows, I got to work on my proposals. It's everything except the thing that really brings in the bacon, and that is pushing out and always taking ground and always getting more business. So what I want to do now is I want to give you some practical, search scenarios here that those of you that are already using the tool can go out and apply straight away, and then you can implement some of Rod's techniques here when you get them on the phone, right? So there's a few different ways, there's a few different searches that I really like, okay? And it goes back to what Rod was talking about earlier. It's about calling the right people, right? And we don't want to, in fact, we want to make fewer cold calls. We don't want to make more cold calls. We would like to make fewer cold calls that are more effective, right? So what is the nature? I ask myself this all the time. What is the nature of, if I'm doing, say I'm doing tenant rep, what is the nature of someone that is going to need my services? And clearly, I love the analysis of it's not just tied to a lease expiration date, right? People have business needs, and those business needs, sometimes you got to plant the seed over a long term, and any direct outreach where you establish that relationship can pay dividends down the road. But if we can figure out a way to go towards the highest probability, clearly that's better. So if you're a buyer's agent, clearly somebody that is qualified, that wants to do a deal, is somebody that's in a 1031 exchange, right? So that's one search that I'm going to show you. Another one that I think is good is somebody that's got a loan coming due. Clearly, they're either going to refinance or they're going to sell. It's really one or the other, or go into foreclosure, right? And then the other one that I really like is identifying owners that own multiple assets. I think this one is often overlooked. In fact, I had an experience when I was in commercial real estate brokerage. I remember I called a building owner, and I said to him, hey, I'm calling you about this, property on 1000 Main Street, and I just want to see what your plans were for it. And he said, look, Steve, I'm never selling that. It's in a trust. Don't ever call me back. I will never sell that property. And turns out the guy owned 10 other properties, and about 60 days later, I saw another property listed on LoopNet with another broker by this owner. And so because I didn't know that this guy had more than one asset, I didn't think to ask. And so I learned my lesson the painful way. But I also think, to Rod's earlier point, if I'd made the goal of getting a meeting and I hadn't accepted the no in that case, maybe it would have been good to push a little bit, right? And go and have a sit with this guy, and I would have found out that this guy had a whole lot more stuff. But the reason I didn't do that, it's my excuse, right, is that I didn't know that he owned 10 other properties. Here's a couple others. We may not have time to get through all of these, but out-of-state owners, if you do apartment buildings, out-of-state owners is great. Maybe they have deferred maintenance. Maybe they're tired of maintaining it. And then the last one is actually, this is an interesting one, and this might be a little bit more for residential, but using data you already have to get the ownership information. So say I have a list of expired listings for my MLS. I could paste 500 addresses into ProspectNow in one shot and get all that information. So the other one is maybe you have CMBS data, or you've got data from your own database. And often we'll see, somebody's got 4,000 records in their REA database, and 2,000 of them haven't been updated in 7 years, right? So maybe we can clean those up, again, with the goal of getting you to the right person. So let's just walk through a couple examples of this, all right? And I'll show you how this works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm in the interface, okay? I'll do a couple searches here. I'm just going to walk you through these. So I'm going to click on this advanced search capability, okay? So this has, incidentally, this has about 10 million, virtually every commercial property in the country, okay, is in the system. Occasionally, there's a few obscure counties that we don't cover, but for the most part, that's the coverage. So if I wanted to, let's say I got a listing, and I got a listing on Lincoln Avenue, okay, in San Jose, and I wanted to call everybody on Lincoln Avenue, and I want to do the one that I talked about before. I want to call everybody on Lincoln Avenue that has more than one property, okay? So incidentally, if I call somebody that has more than one property, let's say they got 5 properties, isn't that the same as calling 5 guys that own one property? This goes back to what I was saying before about the efficiency of making fewer calls but more effectively, right? So let's take a look at the results here and see what we get. Okay, so I got 111 results. They're all right here on this street. I can zoom in and look at those. And if I look at these, these are pretty good examples because, they're LLCs, right? If you look at this Lincoln Avenue, for example, number 2, that's clearly an LLC. So here's all the information on the property. Again, I don't want analysis paralysis because I don't want to slow down my prospecting efforts, but at the same time, I do want enough information so that I can make a good decision as should I call this person. And secondly, I really do want to have something intelligent to say, to the building owner. So knowing that this guy's got, an $8.5 million loan on here is valuable, right? Built in 1949, so I got some basic information. Now, incidentally, with regard to the 1031 exchange piece, so if this property, if I want to I could filter by all properties that sold in the last 30 days. Maybe they're in an exchange, and I could just click this contact seller button here. Okay, so you can see EPG Properties sold this. Now, granted, they sold it in 2005, okay? But all I have to do is filter by the recent ones. That's powerful. Typically, it's a 45-day rule, right, to identify a 1031. So to identify your trade properties. So in that case, I could just filter by everybody that's sold in the last 2 weeks, right, and then see if they want to do an exchange. But anyway, in this example, let's say I want to contact this building owner. So I click on this owner tab now, and I've got some information, okay? If you look down here, I can see who the organizer of the LLC is, who the managing partner is, and then down here I've got even more information. This is called owner company. This shows me information on the holding company. So if I look at this NextGen is the holding company for this LLC, okay? And then I can go down here and see more information on NextGen. So go down here, look at, if I wanted to look at Michael's profile on LinkedIn, I could do that. So if you take nothing else away from this webinar, I would say implementing Rod's techniques in a manner that enables you to just go down the list, okay? Contact, contact, contact. You can do that with speed and efficiency. And look at this. I mean, now I know that if I called up and I said, hey, I want to talk to the owner of Lincoln Avenue number 2 LLC, I mean, how far am I going to get in that deal? It's not going to happen, right? I'm going to be listening to a dial tone inside of 30 seconds. So, but if I say, hey, is Mike in? That's one of the things I like to say. I like to use the shorthand of the name because then it appears, maybe I've got a relationship with the guy. But in either case, whatever your style is, the point is you want to get to Mr. Mulcahy in this example. So that's the key to the system. I'm going to go back to this advanced search and just kind of talk you through some of these other capabilities. So this is the owner state. This would be where if I wanted to call everybody that resided, for example, out of state but had their property in state, so I'm in California right now, I just turn off California, right? So now I got everything that where the owner does not reside in that state. That's the out-of-state owner one. And then the 1031, I just go here to recording date, and I say, okay, everybody that bought, okay, April 1st forward with a recording type of sale. So you get the point here. And if I wanted to do the multi-address search, like right now, if you have data that you need information on, you can just paste in these addresses, and it cleans them up and gives you an immediate search. You can do up to 1,000 at a time. It's really powerful. So obviously, we could spend more time on this, but I think this gives you a flavor for the type of the value associated with a good technology platform like ProspectNow. So, having said that, the other thing I just briefly highlight is, this is also available on your mobile phone. So that that data is there as well. And now, now that if you've attended the webinar and you've gone through the whole thing here, you can see that, okay, if you've got your data now and you're ready, you got a list to go, now you can implement the process part, that Rod has talked about. Rod, incidentally, are you still there, Rod? Can you hear me?
I am here, Steve.
Do you have anything you want to add to this with regard to, how people can engage with your company?
Well, certainly, if you have any questions from us, you can reach out to us on our website at Massimo, Massimo -group.com, and always love to hear from you. But like you said, Steve, the takeaway, if anything, is see how you can leverage this technology, use it as a platform for identifying who you should call, determine your value proposition, what to say, and think about those 5 directions a phone call can make, and use those strategies and tactics and win more meetings.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, ultimately, I had the experience, Rod, one time where I talked to this building owner, and he kind of resisted on a meeting, and what I found is I got lucky. For whatever reason, I felt like I had to push with this guy, and I got this meeting, and turns out there were 3 other partners in the deal, and I wouldn't have gotten this information over the phone, right? I needed to get that. I needed to be sitting in front of somebody and establish some rapport. But then what I found out is one of the partners really wanted to sell, and the other one was having, some kind of other issue, and he wanted to keep it. And I learned all this, right, by getting in front of, the prospect. And so at the end of the day, it still is a relationship. It still is about those one-to-one interactions, and so I think the more we can help that, the better, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so we're gonna close out here. ProspectNow, we want to offer everybody on this on this webinar a first off, I want to say thank you to you, Rod, for being our guest today. I think that this is information that people are just starving for, right? I mean, it's always something that is just invaluable. So I really appreciate you taking the time and attending today.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Always a pleasure working with you and assisting where we can and getting any folks to win more business. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I really want to encourage our customers to work with Rod, because I have my reason for that is twofold. Clearly, I want to see our customers succeed, but also the more our customers succeed and have the know-how, the more they're going to use ProspectNow, right? So that's my own selfish reason for doing that. But at the end of the day, I know that our customer success is ultimately our success, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Rod. So that's the goal here. So we did create a promotion code today for this webinar. It's called Massimo. Okay, and everybody that attended today, this is just for today. Okay, so it's just good for Tuesday. But if you give us a call, provide that that promotion code, we verify attendance on the webinar. You can get our service for $79 a month instead of $89, so it's $120 a year, and $853 if you want to pay up front. Okay, so basically there's a month-to-month plan that gets you 1 county. If you pay up front for the year, you get 4 counties. Okay, and you get a substantial discount. So I really believe in prospecting, and it is my mission to see that that you guys succeed with this. So I encourage everybody to try it out. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks again, Rod, and thanks to everybody for attending today. It was a great turnout. Thank you.